A college president is giving, a decision maker, a friend to students. Ours is all of that. Without further ado, please welcome the leader of our campus, Dr. Kwang-Wu Kim, president of Columbia College, Chicago.
Graduates, parents, families, friends, guests, distinguished members of the faculty, staff, and all others who are here today, welcome to this happy occasion, and thank you for being here to bear witness to this important moment in the lives of our students. With your permission, I would like to address my remarks directly to our graduates. Congratulations. The fact of your graduating today, of course, is no accident, and we honor the accomplishment, the choices, and the sacrifices which helped you get here today. The degrees you have earned tell the world that you are capable of making a complex, multi-year commitment, sticking to it in the face of many challenges, and finishing what you start, finishing well what you start. That says a great deal about your character and your ability to succeed. Your degrees also suggest something about what you know and what you can do. But here are some hard truths about what they don't mean. So they do not certify that you're an expert. That takes more than a degree. That takes a lifetime of commitment. You'll get there if you persevere. They do not certify that you are the world's most interesting person. Hello, that's a beer commercial. They do not certify that you are now in charge. Sorry, you're not. And they also do not certify that suddenly now the world owes you. It doesn't, so get over it. I have to tell you that pulling my thoughts together for today has been a challenge. Last year, I still believed that eventually we as a country would settle back into a reality that made sense to me. Instead, I now find myself facing a reality I don't fully comprehend. As the first person in my family born in this country, I grew up believing that opportunity and individual freedom were America's core values. And in spite of the racism and the discrimination that I have experienced my entire life, I believed that we were on a trajectory of increasing civil liberty and personal freedom, and that one of our greatest strengths was the often challenging diversity of our society. How the world has changed. Racism, xenophobia, and a corrosive suspicion of the other seem to have infiltrated our collective discourse and behavior. Blatant lies are labeled alternative facts. We seem overwhelmed by the future and the way the world is becoming, and increasingly, access to the American dream is limited to those who can afford it. So why am I saying these things on a day that should be about celebration? Because I believe that the times as they are represent a moment of rare opportunity for each of you. When has there been a greater need for skilled, well-educated creatives who are prepared to engage head-on with the world? We desperately need new ideas, new dreams, new perspectives, new practices, new ways of framing problems, and new approaches to problem solving. We need you. Whenever I describe our students, I speak of courage, The fact that you were willing to make tough choices about your lives and your paths in the face of opposition and often a general lack of understanding in the world. That you were not ruled by a need to fit in, and that you refused to be deterred in your search to find your authentic voice. That courage will sustain you when you must stand firm in the face of opposition. And that same courage will give you the strength to speak out and do the right thing when safer options present themselves. Because of your courage, I know you will help us achieve a more meaningful, more promising, and more humane future. Because of all of you, I hold on to my hope. So today, as my send-off, I would like to offer you, as I have many other graduating students, my simple rules for success. And today, in your honor, to my original list of 7, I've added one more, but don't worry, this won't take long. Okay, the first one, I'm guessing many of you know, because you've heard me say it many times, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Be on time. Okay, let me say it again with a little more emphasis. Be on time. In the professional world, show up late and someone else will have grabbed the opportunity. They may not have been better than you, but they got there first. Even more importantly, showing up late says to the world that you think your time is more valuable than someone else's time. Really? Disrespecting others is not going to get you anywhere. So be on time. All right, number 2. Do what you say you're gonna do. Don't overpromise. If you can't do it, just say so. Once you get tagged as unreliable, you're done. 3, reach out to others. Now there's 2 important reasons for this. The first one is that there is so much for you to learn from people who are wiser and more experienced than you. But the second part of this is that, think about this, where do you actually think success comes from? Do you believe that there's such a thing as the self-made person who achieves success completely because of their determination and will? You're never gonna find that person because they don't exist. In any success story, in spite of the hard work and the discipline and the resilience and the pursuit of excellence, there's always someone else in the story who recognized that ability and who opened a door. Your successes will always come because someone else clearly sees who you are and what you can do and wants to help you. So, the more people you know, the better. All right, number 4, listen. Listen. I understand, by the way, that right now you're under a lot of pressure to talk about yourselves and promote your work, and that's very important. But be careful about talking about yourselves too much. Chances are the person that you are talking to has something equally interesting to say if you would let them. All right, 5. Have compassion for others and don't be too quick to judge. Until you have walked in someone else's shoes, you don't have the right. Number 6, live with a sense of gratitude. Now, in my book, complaining, whining, and self-pity are inexcusable. So here's a tip. Get comfortable saying thank you. And if you want the expert level tip, make it a practice to say thank you in writing. No, that is not some quaint old idea. If you do it, you will lift yourself up above the crowd. Number 7, take full responsibility for your words, your actions, your choices, and their consequences. People who make excuses are lame. And people who blame others are losers. So step up. Now, here's the new one. This is my current pet peeve. Avoid starting sentences with the words, I need. That's a linguistic construction that suggests a sense of entitlement. You know, that's the whole "the world owes me" thing that I mentioned earlier. It's not a good way to start a conversation. It's not a good way to start any kind of a relationship. So I'm going to illustrate for you what those words do to me. So picture this. I'm in a conversation with someone, and they say, "I need." And immediately, hopefully without my face showing it, the bubble opens up above my head. And here's what's in the bubble. "Oh, you need? Really? You need? Let me tell you what you need. You need air. You need water. You need food. You need clothes. And you need shelter. And you need to quit." Do not say "I need" to me, all right? So now, finally, we come to the one thing that I really actually want you to remember from this. So I'm going to ask everyone to stand up for a second, all our grads. Don't worry, this is not a big deal. And I know that there's no room where you are, so within the little bit of space you have between seats, just try to take a really small step forward, please. Thank you. Okay, now everybody sit down. All right. Now, just take an additional moment and try to remember the physical sensation of what it felt like taking that step forward, okay? From now on, every time you see a person in need, every time you see a problem going unresolved, every time you see a wrong unrighted, I want you to remember the feeling of that step, and I want you to repeat it. I want you to keep stepping forward until that basic act of courage and leadership becomes ingrained in who you are in the world. That is the obligation I place on each of you as graduates of Columbia College Chicago. So, 3 quick things. Let your light shine. Let your voice be heard. Have faith in the goodness and the bounty of the universe, and let your courage surface. Congratulations.